Okay, we are recording, so Alice can grab that later and put it on the calendar if you want to hear this again. And I think you might after we get done. This is going to be an awesome call. Well, we start out, as always, with our signature message. And to deliver it this evening, we have Mr. Ted Wilson of Louisville, Tennessee.
Thanks, Steve. We are all part of a growing team of entrepreneurs with a shared mission to protect and empower 2 million families and small businesses with Legal Shield's network of attorneys and world-class identity theft services. What we do matters, and we're looking for help. Back to you, Steve.
Thank you, Ted. Once again, I'd like to welcome everybody, and I neglected to tell you who I am. I know you can read my name on the screen. Steve Beck from Morris, Illinois, and I have the pleasure of getting these calls kicked off with some music and getting everyone checked in. And now that we're rolling, first up with our book review is, well, not with the review, but the person who coordinates our book review, Miss Jane Lehman. Jane, go ahead, please.
Good evening, everyone. It's Jane Lehman from Bernie, Texas. And tonight, I could sit here and talk about books all night. We all know that personal development, it's not just a part of Legal Shield, it's a part of the entire network marketing industry. It's one of the high points. I think it's one of the pluses of our industry is that we all work on bettering ourselves. And tonight's book review is by none other than my workout partner, Brenda Daniels. And she's going to review a book that I haven't read yet, so I'm really excited about it. The book is Total Focus by Brandon Webb. So Brenda, it's all yours.
Good evening, everyone. I am so excited to be here and to see all these smiling faces. I'm so excited to share Total Focus. I've read it twice now. It's just so amazing. And can you imagine reading a book by a sniper? So Brandon Webb's background, he was 13 years in Navy, I was going to say SEAL, okay, and he rose through the ranks of a SEAL sniper and to the position of a course master who he helped redesign the whole SEAL sniper training program where legendary heroes that we've heard about came through this program like Marcus Luttrell and Chris Kyle, who we all know from his book, The American Sniper, which is also made into a movie. And can you imagine the world of a sniper and that intense physical training? And Brandon said the hardest part of sniper going through that training was 90% mental. Then from his military career, he went to corporate, did not like it, and went out the world of entrepreneurism like we are and very successful at it. And he said that as a SEAL, though, as a SEAL, they have to make impossible decisions under during insane pressure. And so we might have a pressure, oh my gosh, I need one more membership. Can you imagine the life and days of being a SEAL? But he said successful entrepreneurs needed a skill that he'd already mastered because he was a SEAL, and that's total focus. So that's where the name of the book came from. And he said that there was actually, to be successful in business, that there were 7 principles. And I'm going to talk one today because it really applies to us as a Legal Shield associate, and it's called front sight focus. And as a SEAL, and that's a state of intense concentration in which all your resources and abilities are brought to bear on a singular intention. And so as that sniper is looking through that scope and the crosshairs of that scope, that all the noise and distractions around this sniper, it all goes into a blur and disappears because they are so laser focused. So in 24 hours, and I love this, he said, we've all heard that time is money. He said, that's bullshit. Excuse my French. And he said that money is money and you can always get more of it. But time is opposite of money. So he said in your 24-hour day to stay focused, stay on target. He said, first, you have to win in your mind. Listen to your self-talk. How are you talking to yourself? And he meditates every day. And basically, you know, what he wants to do, he has the abilities to accomplish it, and he does it. He says to master distractions. I think we can relate to that. I'm glad I don't have sniper distractions. Okay. And he said that, oh, I just caught myself saying, okay, a filler word. I don't like doing that. We'll work on that. But time is the master of everything. And he said that eventually time puts an end to all things. So in your 24 hours, he stays focused. He masters his distractions. He pays attention to his communications. And he said that we can all relate to this. Stay on purpose. So when that email comes through or that phone call's coming through to you, in the back of his mind, he asks himself, is there purpose to this conversation? And if not, then don't take that phone call or that email. So I love the book. Not many times. The first time I read about a sniper and how he can help us in business. So it's a highly recommend reading, Total Focus. Back to you, Jane.
Thank you so much, Brenda. And I just wanted to say before we go to Steve Beck, next week we're going to hear from Chuck Dodge about the greatest salesman in the world. And keep those books coming. I need people we're good for February. I need people to step up and volunteer to review a book starting in March. I have no one for the month of March yet. So please get your books read. And if you want to tell us about it, get in touch with me. I'll put my information in the chat so you can get in touch with me. Thank you. Back to you, Steve.
Thank you, Jane. And folks, with that much lead time, you've got enough time to read a book that you haven't even picked up yet and still be able to review it for us sometime in March. So keep that in mind if you would. Next, we're going to go on to our story time. We all know the importance of stories in our business. And for this, I'm going to kick it right upstairs to Linda Beck.
Got it. Thank you, Steve. Great job, Brenda. Sounded good. Good evening, all. It is story time, and we do all know the importance of stories. Stories are how we share the incredible impact our services have on the lives of our members. We've heard it before, see the people and tell the story. We use them for motivation. They help us to see how we make a difference, and they help us to connect to our prospects. So pay attention to how the story is told, who told it, their background. This may be someone that you want to talk to later, and even maybe contact for a three-way call. I'm sharing the first story tonight. It's a story that I borrowed, and you may have heard it before, but I think it's a good story as it gives us a picture of the partnership between Legal Shield and ID Shield. And here it goes. I'd applied for a part-time job, and the manager asked me to come in for an interview the next day. When I arrived, I was greeted by 3 police officers asking me for my ID. It was used in vehicle theft and check fraud. I was handcuffed and taken to the police station. When the detective came in to question me, I asked him for my attorney. An officer brought me a phone, and I called Legal Shield's emergency line and explained the situation to an attorney, who then got an investigator on the line from ID Shield. Over the course of the next hour or so, I learned my identity had been stolen. They could even pinpoint the last place it was used, which cleared me. Finally, the detective came in and expressed the department's apologies, and I was let go. Looking back, I remained quite calm during that really emotional ordeal that day because I knew I had professionals on my side. The lawyers and the investigators worked with me for the next few weeks to remove everything from my ID and record that wasn't me, which was very comforting. When I think about that day, I shudder to think of what it would have been like if I had not been a member of Legal Shield and ID Shield. I'll never be without them. And that was told from a Jay Torres in South Carolina. And our next story is given by Annette Szobar. Out to you, Annette.
Thanks, Linda. Tonight, instead of the usual member story, I'd like to talk about what happens when we do not have these services. This really grabbed my heart. I recently became acquainted with a lady whose truck driver husband had been involved in an accident in which 4 people were killed by his truck. Several vehicles were involved, all making bad split-second decisions. And he was also 2 or 3 states away from home. The free consultations he received from local attorneys in that state indicated it may take 6 years for him to be charged, and he needed to pay them a retainer, which he didn't have. 9 months later, he was charged with 4 counts of aggravated vehicular homicide and vehicular manslaughter. He turned himself in and then sat in jail for 6 weeks until they could raise bail money and attorney fees. Another year goes by, and now out of money, he is using the public defender, who has recommended he take a plea deal, which includes jail time. He's considering it because he's run out of money. I don't know if this man is guilty or not. I'm very emotional about this. The plea deal may be his best option. I don't know that either. But what I do know is that if this man would have had our CDL plan, he would have received expert legal advice from day one and would be represented in court by a top quality law firm. The decisions he is making would be based on sound legal advice and not on money. So let's get out there and tell more people about this membership. Back to you, Linda.
I couldn't find the mute, sorry. That was excellent. Thank you for that. What Annette didn't tell you is that her husband also is a truck driver. So that's why this is very emotional to her. And it should be to all of us. Stories are especially important because we can borrow them, like I did mine. No matter if you're new with the company or have been around for a while, use the stories. They're very easy to share. And up next, back to you, I believe, Steve.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you both for such awesome stories. We appreciate that. And I am very excited to introduce our guest speaker for this evening. This gentleman is the newly installed network vice president for Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. He is a Millionaire Club member. And if you've ever been to a Legal Shield convention, you know him as DJ Melrob, the official corporate DJ for our Legal Shield corporate events. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Mel Roberson.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with my family. Mr. Drennan, I have a tremendous amount of respect for. Timmer Halligan and the Becks as well, and everybody else on here that I know. You all know, especially if you're in the Illinois market, and we've had an opportunity to do a Super Saturday. And Annette, good to see you. I haven't seen you all like in 2 years, man. It's not physically. I mean, outside of a convention. Some of you all were at a live convention, but thank God. I won't say that things are getting back to normal. We are figuring out what our new normal is. And we just got to live with this thing, right? I mean, it just kind of is what it is. I had COVID in December. I lived to tell the story. And I'm here for you guys to, kind of hear some stuff from and get a little information from me. For those of you all that don't know me, my name is Mel Roberson. I'm the official corporate DJ. I'm a Millionaire Club member inside the company. Companies pay me well over $1 million directly deposited into my account since I've been in Legal Shield, which is crazy because I personally have never worked over 10 hours in 1 week, ever. in the history of me ever being in Legal Shield have I ever had more than a 10-hour work week. Ever. So I don't think that it's odd for somebody to have earned $1 million over the course of a career. I mean, if you make $50,000 a year for 20 years, you've made $1 million, right? But you probably worked at least 40 hours a week for that. There are not too many places that are giving away 50 grand a year and you're not giving them at least 40 hours of your time. I did that on 25% of that per week or less. 10 hours, Mr. Drennan, was when I was really humping, right? 10 hours was a week where I was like, woo, I did a lot of appointments, in this 10 hours because my lifestyle has always been different. So my background previous to Legal Shield is I had a consulting business, which I phased out, but I have back now. So in my consulting business, I did a variety of different trainings. Now my consulting business, I do professional development seminars for companies, a lot of stuff on leadership, team building, corporate morale, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, but I'm Black. Wait, let me check. Yeah, still am. So I do a lot of diversity, equity, and inclusion stuff. I'm crazy too, if you all haven't figured that out, and I like to have fun. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is a huge thing, and it's not just about skin tone. There's diversity when it comes to the workplace. As far as I talk about a lot of women's issues, honestly, age and stuff, and then with the LGBTQT community, there's a lot of just different diversity stuff that I train on or talk about in the workplace because people are people and people work at places. I've co-authored 6 books and have 1 solo project, all of which have hit bestseller rankings on Amazon. So I'm a 7-time Amazon bestselling author, and I'm on TV. Some of you may have seen me on Chicago PD. I play Detective James Cullen on Chicago PD. I'm a homicide detective on there. Been on a few other TV shows and stuff like that too. And I'm not saying any of this stuff for you all to be like, oh, it's the famous guy. I've been in Legal Shield longer than I've been an actor. I've been in Legal Shield longer than I've been an author, right? The only thing that I've done longer than Legal Shield was my consulting work. But Legal Shield gave me the time freedom and the financial freedom to do all of the other things that I do. So for those of you that are extremely part-time or something like that, don't feel bad about it. Do what you do. But I will give you a few simple keys on building a business and getting paid over $1 million in this business. Just a few simple things that I did. Number 1, Performance Club was my floor and not my ceiling. Performance Club was my floor and not my ceiling. I've been in Performance Club for 244 months, something like that. After 5 years, I stopped counting, honestly, but it's been 240 some odd months. And it's my floor. Like at the bare minimum, if I did nothing else, I would make sure that I'm in Performance Club every single month. What's Performance Club? At a minimum, it's $100 in premium. If you wrote now 2 combo plans will give you over $140. I mean, over $100 in premium. If you just wrote 2 plans a month, that's half a plan a week, right? If you wrote half a plan a week, part-time, you could do that in less than 10 hours, right? But that was my floor, not my ceiling. I made sure that was something that I did, right? The other thing that I made sure that I did is I attended all international conventions and leadership conferences. If I got this little part-time business that I'm working on that's paid me over $1 million since I've been in it, the least I could do is spend 2 or 3 weekends out of a year learning how to maintain that. So the international convention that we have coming up in April, even if I wasn't the corporate DJ, long before I was on the corporate DJ, I was on the front row taking notes of the things that I was learning from people who made more money than me, right? It just makes sense to do that. If I played basketball and LeBron or Michael Jordan or one of those guys was teaching a basketball camp and I had access to go, I would go, and though I'm not a Brady fan personally, but if I was a football player and I was a quarterback and Brady was having a camp, though I'm not a fan of the teams he plays for, I would go learn from him, right? What am I saying there? You don't even have to like the person to learn from them if they do something a lot better than you, right? So I would go learn from them. So now what we're doing is we're taking the best of the best and we're putting them all on stage and giving you the information that you need in order to become successful. It only makes sense, even if you're part-time, So Performance Club was my floor, not my ceiling. I went to every international convention. And then the other thing that I did is I made sure that my weekly activity matched my goals. So my goals personally, I only needed a few extra $1,000. Well, when I first started, a few $100s a month, right, was all I needed. But then once I saw I could make a few hundred pretty easily, and I started building a team and getting overrides, I was like, oh, well, this could become a couple of thousand. Then a couple of thousand became 5,000, a couple thousand, and then 5,000 became 6,000, 7,000, right? And so then I earned out. So I haven't hit the 6-figure ring yet inside of Legal Shield, but with everything else that I do in my life, I'm fine. Like, you know, my cars that are in the driveway are not in threat of being taken in my sleep because I didn't pay for them. I'm doing okay with the streams that I have. But here's the thing that I realized though, right? Because I'm almost at 6 figures, but I'm completely as earned. So even if I do anything else and I have a personal retention of 93%, I don't remember what my organizational retention is, but I have a personal retention of 93%. So my renewals are sitting pretty good, right? I committed to a simple system. What is the simple system? Well, we have, you know, the 10 core commitments that you guys have heard about and the fundamental skills and all of this other stuff. And all that stuff's great. Do I know the 10 core commitments by heart? Yes, because I've been around for years. What are the simple things that I do on a regular basis? I find people to talk to, and I talk to the people I find. That's it. I don't do much else besides that. I find people to talk to, and I talk to the people I find. Those are the only things that I really do in here. So how do I find people to talk to? Well, there are a variety of ways. Brand new people, we start with a warm market list. But even with years in the business, a couple of decades in the business now, I still probably haven't given a proper presentation to every single body that I know. And when I say a proper presentation, there were some people in the past that, and guys, let me know when my time is up, because I love talking about this stuff. So, you know, if you can give me a 5, 4 to count me down or whatever, but I'll go until you want me to stop. So in the beginning of this, I know that there were people that I talked to about this membership and about this opportunity that I probably did it completely wrong, right? I probably fire hosed them with a bunch of information, told them they better get in it because I said so, you know, all of the wrong ways that a person could possibly talk to somebody about Legal Shield. I did it. People say, well, you can't give the right presentation to the wrong person, and you can't give the wrong presentation to the right person. Yeah, you can give the wrong presentation to the right person, right? Like, you know, I'm not a caviar person. However, you've heard the terminology of serving caviar on a garbage can lid, right? I don't think I would want to eat anything off of a garbage can lid, let alone caviar. So caviar is this, you know, the expensive, exquisite, you know, amazing appetizer. But if you serve it on a garbage can lid, nobody's going to want it. So what am I saying about that? Legal Shield is this amazing business opportunity, this amazing membership. But if you serve it on a garbage can lid, nobody's gonna want to eat from that. The other part of it is, it doesn't matter how charismatic you are. You know, Mr. Drennan, very charismatic, very well spoken, commanding presence. I mean, he's like 9 foot 7 inches tall, right? You know what I mean? Like, he walks in the room and it's just like, hey, this guy, you know, he's important, right? So very charismatic. He has a commanding presence when he's there. However, everybody that he talks to might not have the same presence, the same confidence, the same experience that he's had. So there has to be an easy, duplicatable way for you to bring people into the business. I'm going to give you an old story, then I'm going to give you a newer one. So there's a gentleman on my team. For those of you that are in the Chicagoland area, you know this gentleman. His name is Ted Bell, right? He's been in Performance Club for over 100 months, senior director on my team, on his way to becoming an executive director and ring earner. Ted Bell is a friend of mine. I knew Ted personally. When I recruited Ted, this is exactly what I did. Now, it's going to be a little bit different now because, you know, we're in this pandemic-y situation, but the story is the important part. So when I recruited Ted Bell, my MacBook is about to die. let me plug this up. When I recruited Ted Bell, this is what I did. I called Ted. I said, hey, bro, I'm at Subway right now. Do you want a $5 footlong? He said, I would love one. I said, great. I need to come by your house and watch this DVD real quick. My DVD player's not working. Now, before I left home, I unplugged my DVD player. So technically it wasn't working. I didn't lie to him. Okay. So he asked me for a $5 footlong. He was like, oh, could you give me a bag of chips? I said, bro, I was just at your house 2 days ago. You still got chips on top of your refrigerator that aren't open. No, I'm not bringing you a bag of chips. We will eat the chips that are at your house. So I get to his house. I give him a $5 footlong. He's like, man, I don't have time to watch a movie. I said, it's not a movie. It's a short DVD. By the time we're done eating, the DVD will be done playing. Put the DVD in the DVD player. We watch the DVD. My mouth is full. I couldn't even answer questions because I had a veggie delight. Just look, right? So he watches the DVD. At the end of it, he says, I have some questions. I said, hey, listen, I'm new. Now, here's the thing. Compared to Mr. Stonecipher, I was new. He had been in since 1972. I got in a lot later after that. So I was new in comparison, okay? I said, listen, I'm new. Let me get somebody on the phone that could probably answer your questions better than me. Called somebody. He answered all the questions. He got the membership right there. He asked now, I didn't even get to the opportunity part. I had only showed him a membership video at that part. He was like, so is this the thing that you do when you travel around? I said, yeah. He said, how much are you going to make off of this? I said, you really want to know? I told him. He was like, so this is all you do? Pretty much. He's like, you don't work a regular job? I was like, no. He's like, okay, I think I want to see that part. So he kind of recruited himself. Fast forward. We get to a Super Saturday. Now, at this time, I'm the RVP of Illinois. I'm a silver executive director. I'm a ring earner. Like all of these things had taken place, right? And so he knew none of this stuff. And so we're sitting on the front row and somebody's introducing me. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, your VP, blah, 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 blah. Gives all my stats. Mel Roberson. I tap him on the leg. I said, take notes, bro. And then I walk on stage and I give a training or whatever. I don't even know if I was the speaker for the event, I don't remember. But I say all that to say, even though I was a silver executive director and all of these things, have been in Performance Club, I showed him a video and I let somebody else answer his questions, right? I put it in a simple, duplicatable system. And guess what Ted did when he started the business? He showed somebody a video. He called me to answer questions. Where am I going with this? Why is this important? Mr. Drennan, with his commanding presence, right? Everybody that's not 9'7", if he recruited everybody that was a giant, then of course it's all the same of him. But we recruit people of different personalities, different social skills, different all of these things. So we have to do something that gives everybody an equal playing field. How you get them in is how they will do the business, right? So my goal is when I bring somebody in, the way that I bring them in, I want them to be able to do what I did to them within the next 24 to 48 hours, even if I was not around. So hypothetically, if a meteor fell on my head and I bursted into a ball of flames 24 hours after Ted Bell was recruited, he would still know. He'd be sad, but he would say, even though Mel's not here anymore, I could show a video and I could call somebody else on my support team to show them exactly what to do. All we do is find people to talk to, and we talk to the people we find, okay? Those are the simple money-making elements of the business, right? So am I finding people to talk to in this pandemic? What are some of the things I've done? I've joined groups that interest me, right? I'm an actor. I like movies. I join Facebook groups where people talk about movies. I comment on them. We go back and forth. I eventually send them a friend request. Then I say, hey man, what you said about Sandlot was crazy. I love that movie. You're killing me, Smalls, right? And then we have some dialogue. And I say, you know what, Timber, you seem like a sharp guy. If you don't mind, I want to run a business idea by you. I'm working on a project and I could use some outside input. Now, me and Timber have been talking about the Great Bambino, right? We've been talking about, s'mores and all the things that are in the Sandlot movie. But because we've built a level of rapport, I'm able to say, hey, I want to run a business idea by you. I'm working on a project and I can use some outside input. Do I really care what Timber says? No, I don't care what he says. I just want him to watch the information, right? But these are things that I do. So I join groups that interest me. The world is opening up a little. I'll tell you what I did a lot in the beginning of the pandemic when we were like lockdown, before I figured out how to prospect on social media. I asked for referrals. It's a novel idea, not just from my current membership base, but from people that I had presented to that told me no. So Sean Johnson tells me no in a presentation. Hey, Sean, I understand that this isn't for you. I get it. You don't think this is something that you could use at this time. If that ever changes though, please let me know. Because I'll tell you what's happened to other people before, Sean. After they hear about this information, something pops up in their life and they say, wow, I really could have used this legal thing that Mel had. So if that changes for you, please let me know. But let me ask you something, Sean. Do you know anybody who has small children or children that are under the age of 18? He'll say yes or no. If he says yes, Sean, I'm willing to bet that, they're probably part of the percentage that doesn't have their will done. 7 out of 10 people in America don't have a will done right now. 9 out of 10 minorities right now don't have a will done. Would you agree, Sean, that having a last will and testament, living will, and healthcare power of attorney is something that's super important and people need one before they die? Right? Sean says yes. I say, great. So if you wouldn't mind introducing me to those people, I'm not going to hard sell them. I'm not hard selling you. It's completely all right that you didn't get the membership. However, I would hate for something to happen to somebody that you know and love. And just because you didn't take advantage of it doesn't mean that they won't take advantage of it. Right? So that's one way that I ask for referrals. Another way that you can ask for referrals now too, in your Prospect by Legal Shield app. I don't know if you guys have seen this. Have you all talked about this yet? The referral link in the app? Yes? No? I get to bring new stuff. I'm the bearer of new stuff. All right. Your Prospect by Legal Shield app. Under Opportunity. Then there's another button that says Additional Resources, right? So Opportunity and Prospect by Legal Shield, like you go into Resources first. I'm sorry. Go under Resources first. If you click on Opportunity, and then you click on Additional Tools. Under Additional Tools, you'll see a link. It should be in there that says, please give me a referral. Do you all have that link? When you click the please give me a referral link and you text that to somebody or you email that to somebody, and I would advise you to take a look at the link, it's gonna go ahead and say, the best compliment that I could get is a referral or something like that. Ask them a couple of questions based off the information presented. Do you feel you have a good idea of what Legal Shield does? Blah, 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 blah. It's a couple of different questions. Then it says the best compliment is a referral, and it has a spot for them to give you 2 referrals, but they could add more referrals in there. Once they hit submit, and then there's a thing to say, please, put in your personal information so I could thank you. But once they hit submit, those referrals go to your Prospect by Legal Shield because you are the one that sent them that, and it came straight from your app. I don't know about you, but I will be running a team contest to see how many people can get presentations and referrals done between now and next Sunday's team call. That's what I'd be doing. I don't know. Or maybe it doesn't even have to be a team contest. Challenge yourself. Okay. All right. So I talked about Performance Club. I talked about convention. I talked about a simple system. And Mr. Drennan and Timmer Halligan, they are the kings of simplicity. So I know what they teach you all in that. I don't have to go over that. Let me see. I've already taken a lot of time, so I don't want to keep going because it can. And it's already 9:30, and I know Timmer has to teach some kids how to play tennis and get into college in the morning. So Mr. Drennan, Mr. Halligan, Mr. Beck, if there's anything else that you guys want me to touch on.
Well, Mr. Roberson, I can't thank you enough for what you've given to us this evening. I think I know from my relationship with you, I know how much wisdom you have to impart, and it won't fit into one phone call. So we would definitely like to invite you back again in the future.
I'm with it.
Thumbs up. That's what I wanted to see. Thank you so much.
Hey, Steve Beck, I know we're at the end, but I want to comment real quick because there's people here who've never met Mel Roberson, maybe didn't know who he was, haven't been to Chicago events prior to COVID. And, you know, he's awesome. He's one of the best. I've had the pleasure of being in many audiences at many events where he's been a speaker and trainer, not just a DJ. And so this has been really a gift tonight. And thanks for those who brought Mel in. Mel's, man, it's great seeing you. I miss you. So thank you. Back to you, Steve.
Miss you too,
Thanks.
brother.
Thanks, John. Timmer, did you want to comment real quick before we finish things up for tonight?
Other than Mr. Roberson, it is great to see you, my friend. You look absolutely amazing. Congratulations on your last book. And, you know, the things that you had talked about tonight, you know, 4 or 5 key points and how you're able to do that in 10 hours a week is something that everybody can do. You know, I think it's like when you're handed a script and you're on a movie set, you read the script, right? They give it to you, you say, here's the script, and you read it. Because if you tried to change it all the time, you probably wouldn't continue as an actor. They would say, this young man is not coachable. And so I so appreciate you, my friend, and looking forward to you come visit me in North Carolina so we can play some tennis. Absolutely. I have a very expensive tennis racket that my tennis coach gave me that doesn't get enough usage. So, yes.
One other final thing, Mel. I know earlier when you were first starting out, you alluded to how long you've been in Performance Club. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure of the exact number either. I just do know that it's 3 months longer than Mr. Al Lewis.
Exactly.
That is exactly. For those of you, if you ever come to an Illinois Super Saturday, it's sort of a running friendly rivalry between Mr. Lewis, another Millionaire Club member, and Mr. Roberson. And Mel has 3 months on him, so he waits until Al says how long he's been in, and then he comes up. So it's very humorous. All right. Well, just to wrap things up, is if you people weren't motivated enough already, I'm going to turn it over to Phyllis Martins for our motivational moment. Phyllis, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Steve. I'm Phyllis Martins from Rapid City, South Dakota. After the affirmation call yesterday, I started going through Facebook, or not Facebook, but my iPad, and I found a couple quotes that are good food for thought, and I think they kind of follow good with what Brenda was said as well as Mel. And the first quote is from Viggo, V-I-G-G-O Mortensen. And he said, one of the best pieces of advice I ever got was from a horse master. He told me to go slow, to go fast. I think that applies to everything in life. We live as though there aren't enough hours in the day, but if we do each thing calmly and carefully, we will get it done quicker and with much less stress. I found another one by George Lorimer, and it says, you've got to get up every morning with determination if you're going to go to bed with satisfaction. And I think those two go right along with what I've heard from John Drennan. If not now, when? And that echoes what Napoleon Hill said. Don't wait. The time will never be just right. So I think we should just do it, focus, and get it done. Back to you, Steve.
Thank you, Phyllis. Before we go to our closing video, I've got a couple of quick announcements. First of all, if you haven't yet registered for the Best Is Yet to Come, our 2022 International Convention, there are 8 convention tickets available at $60 each. They're available on a first-come, first-served basis. To reserve a ticket, do the following. First, text Alice Engelhart at 720-308-2605. I'll repeat that in a minute. Give her your full name, email address, and your cell phone number. You can also email this information to aliceland@me.com. And Alice's phone number, once again, if you didn't get it before, 720-308-2605. Alice will contact you to confirm your ticket status. If you are one of the 8 people to get those tickets, you'll be sent information on how to pay for your ticket and how to register. So make sure you get your convention tickets if you haven't already done so. This is a great opportunity to get them at a discounted price. Also, don't forget our morning stretch call every Monday through Friday morning, starting at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central. And don't forget to invite people to tomorrow night's Team Zoom. I'm not sure who's presenting the membership and the opportunity, but that's tomorrow, and that's at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. And I see Mr. Drennan waiting, so he'll be doing that presentation. With that, I will stop the recording, and we will close with our video. Something just popped up on my screen that I need to get rid of. There it goes.